took over the neurological department, he knew how to reorganize and restructure the program to where it works. He planned the separation of those twins. And yes, he was scared. He was afraid of that, but he did it. And he was successful because of the people he put together for that plan, for that whole surgery. He did it all himself. And that tells me he knows how to structure a group to work together to pull something off successfully.
And a government that is dysfunctional. And we ask, can we do something about it? I say, absolutely, we can do something about it. We can utilize our brains and think about how do you fix things that don't work. There are a number of ways to do this. There are things called turnaround specialists. One of the systems that's used is called Lean Six Sigma. Look it up when you get home. It's been used for companies like Toyota, take them from nothing to one of the world's biggest corporations, Apple computers, and a whole bunch of people. Turn things around amazingly. With the armored vehicles that we designed to protect our soldiers against IEDs, we could only produce 5 of them a day, and we needed a lot more than that. They applied that system to it. The inefficiencies disappeared. Same production model, same people, but applying efficiency to it, we were able to do 50 a day instead of 5 a day and reduce the cost by over 25%. Now what happens if we start doing things like that across the entire government? Can you imagine? There'd be a lot of fur flying because, believe me, there's a lot of people who want to protect their little domains. And one of the things that we're going to have to do to fix what is going on is sever ties with special interest groups and people who want to do things. See, I personally don't have any ties with any of those people, and I'm not going to develop any of the ties with them either. And we need to be able to fire people in the government. And we need to reduce the size. And the way that I've suggested doing that is, thousands of government workers retire every year. Just don't replace them. We can shift people around, but don't replace them. You do that for about 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden, you've got a lean, mean machine. That's what the American people deserve. And we have to stop letting people make everything into a political issue. These are not political issues that we're dealing with. These are pro-American and anti-American issues that we're dealing with. And
Well, I like Ben Carson because he's a different kind of candidate. He's not a politician. He has never been a politician, and I think that's something that's very important for America and for our future. We've for too long had too many career politicians come into office, make all kinds of promises, but then they're beholden to all these interests that for how many years they've had all kinds of donations and other kind of kickbacks, not necessarily kickbacks, but I really think that he is something different than that. In addition to that, he's someone that speaks his mind. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He'll say things that some people would consider controversial, but a lot of people would just consider the truth. And I applaud that bravery, and I think that America could really benefit from someone like Ben Carson.
I actually get a little amused at the people who say, but you're a doctor. You couldn't possibly know anything about anything else. The economy, foreign affairs, anything, because you're a doctor, and doctors don't know anything else. How stupid is that? And the fact of the matter is, I believe that our founders set up a system that wasn't supposed to cater to a political class. It was supposed to cater to the people. It was supposed to be a nation that is of, for, and by the people, not up for and by the government. The government is there to facilitate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for the people. We've gotten it all confused, and we listen to the pundits, and we listen to the so-called leaders who tell us what we're supposed to think, and where have they gotten us? You know, it's not a very good place. We're about to go off the cliff. And it's time for us to start thinking for ourselves, using these amazing brains.
Trying to heal race relations. The current administration has ripped us apart in terms of causing separation and things that I've never seen in my lifetime before so bad. And I think so many people thought that Obama would help heal that, and my goodness, he's fractionated the country, something terrible. He's such a sound thinking person with such knowledge and basic understanding of where we should be going that I think he is without a doubt somebody that could bring us all together. And so I'm very strongly able to get into Yale, was able to get into University of Michigan Medical School, was able to get into a neurosurgery fellowship at Johns Hopkins where there was about 150 applicants. He was one of 2 people selected. His accomplishments in neurosurgical arena where he performed an operation that never been performed at all in history. He became obviously a world-renowned neurosurgeon. And that's all wonderful and great in terms of the medical field, but I think he's got such basic principles in terms of where he wants to lead the country that, and with business experience he's had with his own scholarship program that he's set up throughout all 50 states. He's been on board Costco and other big companies, so he's had business experience, and where he needs other added expertise, nobody has that when they're just getting into politics. But let's just say that he's not tarnished with a lot of the political baggage a lot of other people have, who I may agree with in terms of their basic conservative philosophy, but he doesn't have all that baggage. I mean, he is, shall we say, clean without excess political baggage.
Baltimore, Ferguson, and places like that. All of these people have seen a lot of change, but they don't have very much hope. And we have to create hope for them once again. And if we get corporations, business, industry, academia to start investing in our people, to provide them with a ladder to climb out of a situation of dependency and become part of the fabric of the American dream. I think that's a message that the Republican Party can take to many of the downtrodden who have always looked at us askew. And they can actually begin to understand that this is actually the party of hope. This is actually the party that will allow them to become part of the American dream. Because we need to recognize that we're all in the same boat. And if part of the boat sinks, eventually the rest of it's going down too. And we need to be concerned about each other. And when it comes to taking care of the downtrodden in our society, that's the job of business, industry, academia, Wall Street, churches, community organizations. It's not the job of the government. That's what we need to do. But in order to do all of that, there's one thing that is mightily needed, and that is courage. You have to have courage, because the establishment is not going to like it. They want us to continue down the same pathway. They want you to believe that they have all the answers. The political pundits want you to believe that they are all wise. If they were all that wise, we wouldn't be in this situation. So they're not all that wise, but they can't even understand that. But I'll tell you who can understand it. We, the people, can understand it. Because this country was designed of, for, and by the people. The function of the government was to facilitate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what we have to remember.
And he has made it very clear that he's not a politician and he's not politically correct. I can't stand political correctness. correctness, and he is very against it like I am. He tells it like it is. He's honest, and he's not interested in being a politician. He's interested in our country, and that's what we need. We need someone who puts America first, and their goals, their objectives second.
Lawyers came to me and my wife, they said, you can't put your think big banners up in public schools because the G stands for God. And somehow that violates, the First Amendment. They said there can be no government support of religious expression. Well, I reminded them that it also says there can be no government suppression of religious expression. So we had a rather vigorous argument. I suggested that we resolve it at the level of the Supreme Court, which seems bold and reckless, but it really wasn't, because I knew the next week I was going to the Supreme Court to receive the Jefferson Award. So I figured I would ask while I was there, and I did. And just as Sandra Day O'Connor said, they were all wet. Of course you could put that up, and of course it was no violation. And the problem is we back down too easily. We have to stop letting them bully us. This country belongs to all of us. We have to be vigilant. It was Thomas Jefferson who said the American people would stop being vigilant and the government would expand and encroach upon our lives and begin to take away our freedoms. And just before we turned into something else, the people would recognize what was going on and they would stand up. And I say, now is that time. We must stand up. Thank you very much.